Red lipstick is life. Last time on Historic Halloween 2020, I did a little research into the Weldon Pattern Company and decided to be a paint box for Halloween. I decided to use a pattern I'd already made because it would fit me. And then I decided to make a few changes to make it fit me even better. Spoiler alert, it is completely debatable whether or not those changes worked. So I cut out my modified bodice pieces and added some interfacing to help stabilize the button band. With the darts stitched up and the sides and shoulders assembled, I tried it on. It was not a smashing success. In fact, it was moderately terrible, which was very disappointing after all the work I'd put into changing the pattern. So, with every great beginning, sometimes you have to just back up. So I'm currently unpicking these darts because they're not big enough or not in the right place enough, or anyway, we're going to have to fix the darts. I'm not quite sure what we're going to do with them yet, but I do know that they cannot stay as they are, so unpicking them it is. Luckily, I had only done all of this as basting stitches, which is good because that means that I can unpick them slightly easier. Ouch. Okay, so I have pinned in my placket for my buttons. I have opened up my dart. I'm going to go try this on here in a second and see what I can fix. Yeah. The darts seemed to be in the wrong place, so I picked them out to try again. This time I pinned the button band closed for the full effect when I tried it on. This was marginally better. I took an extra dart on the side of the bust. Please note, this makes 3 darts per side. There has got to be a better way to do this, which helped me get the shape I wanted. With the bodice fitting at least a little bit, I moved on to the skirt. The skirt from the pattern was much fuller than my example drawing. So with a little help from Gertie's new book of better sewing, I modified it to an A-line skirt. My original plan had been to make the skirt like a quilt top with the squares and bands sewn together. One look at the pattern piece with the squares laid out on it was enough to make me give up on that idea. I resigned myself to hand sewing on 20-some patches. What I need to figure out is how many squares fit on my pattern piece. So I cut out the skirt and I sewed it together, and then I attached it to the bodice. I will say that this part worked well. Hooray! The next part was fun, choosing the paint colors for my patches. I'm a sucker for anything rainbow, so the colors I chose reflected that. The darker blue was a polyester I bought to make the Steve Scoops Ahoy cosplay for a friend's son. Check it out on my Instagram, link in the description. And it frayed like crazy, so I decided against it in the end, even though it was the perfect shade of blue. Instead, I stuck with a variety of polycotton blend broadcloth bought in small amounts to use as trim for children's costumes over the years. I knew it was going to come in handy. It's not hoarding if you use it, right? I used the cardboard out of a pair of pantyhose as a template for each square, and first I double-checked that they would all fit onto the skirt. Then, using my rotary cutter, I carefully cut out each piece. And then my brain decided it didn't want to think about patches anymore, so I skipped over to the buttons and the buttonholes. The eternal struggle. So I'm trying to decide what buttons to use. See, I've got some candidates laid out here. Now, I like these ones, and I do have 5 of them, but they're kind of small. You can see they're about the size of my fingertip. So I'd kind of like 6 of them if I was going to put those on the front of my dress. But then maybe I could put a heart at the top. It is a Halloween dress after all. It doesn't have to be terribly sensible. And then, I don't know, am I the only one who has always grown up with having all their buttons and things with quality straight chin? Hi guys! Okay, so, we have a dress! That's about all I got to say about it, but with the buttons picked out, I started pinning on patches. I found this quite difficult as the skirt was big and I didn't want to pin through to the other side. So I ended up sitting on the floor at the bottom of my bed and using a bubble envelope as a mat to make sure I didn't pin the skirt together. And then I began the monster task of slip stitching down each and every patch. This took a considerable amount of time, and it was, to be honest, done in lots of different places. My dad's house, in the car, waiting for dance pickup. You get the idea. By the time I had most of the pockets done, I had started to post about my costume to Instagram. Another user, Elizabeth Poth, addressed here, commented that she is also making the same dress, and she showed me hers and how she'd use some of the patches as pockets. And this was such a good idea that I had to try it myself, and it worked. Okay, so this is my pocket. That's a mess, but we'll cut that later. So this is the front of the bodice. This is my pocket. So I'm just gonna probably blanket stitch it down the 3 sides. It's already hemmed. And I'll have, I don't know if my phone will fit in it, but I will have a pocket. This is my helper. His name is Casey. He's loud. Are you loud? Doggy kisses. Next, I took a quick detour to look at the bodice fit again. I unpicked where the bodice and the skirt join in the very front, and I moved it up by about 1 inch. Then I took another inch out of the shoulders, which led me down a fun little detour. Basically, from the point of my bust to the top of my shoulder is much shorter than it is on other people, which explains why I have this problem in so many different kinds of shirts and bodices. This kind of information is very useful, as it can become a standard alteration that I make to most patterns. Alright, I have chosen my buttons, plain white ones with a bit of a divvy design on them. So to figure out where the buttons need to go, I'm using this piece of paper. I'm going to fold it in half, fold it in half again, and without having to do any math, each fold is where my buttons go. Ouch. Okay, so first buttonholes and then buttons. So, with the bodice fitting much better, I got to work on the buttons and the buttonholes again. Okay, so dress is on. It's pretty comfy too, which is nice. Hem is now all pinned up thanks to my roommate's mother who did the job for me while I stood there. Yes, I know it's higher in the front than it is in the back, but we're just going to live with that because that's actually where my waist is. I need to tack this pocket down. You can see it's coming undone. And yeah, gonna get this hem done. And then we're just on to accessories. Accessories require a dance, apparently. I don't know what that was. Okay, so my roommate's mother had flipped the inside up. I trimmed off the uneven bits. And now I'm just... where am I here? There I am. Double folding and giving it a tiny little felling slash whip stitch to hold the hem in place. And that's all there is to it. I had originally planned to make a neck ruffle as shown in this variation of the pattern, but that didn't happen. I was running out of time and I needed to get it done. Instead, I tacked on some bows to the shoulders. Let me know down in the comments. Do you think it would look better with the neck ruffle? Should I make it to wear in years going forward? Then, with the dress finally finished, it was on to the hat. The hat was very much not optional. I made the hat, which is shaped like an artist's palette, from cardboard and felt, with 2 real paintbrushes hot glued on top. This was not a sewing project. Hot glue all the way. After cutting my shape from a shipping box, I covered it in white jersey. I had intended to use white felt, but I couldn't find it. Once I had covered it, I bound the outside edge in polyester blue velvet ribbon from my stash. This is an excellent use for it. I was able to find the colored felt and cut out several different blobs to represent the paint. As I mentioned, I then stole several paintbrushes with frayed bristles from my kids' art supplies and hot glued them on top. A red polyester ribbon glued on the bottom makes a strap to keep it on. I cut a point into the ends to keep them from fraying or raveling. And at that point, it was time for the reveal. And I do hope everyone appreciates this. It's like 3 degrees Celsius out here. Anyway, I really love this costume. I'm super proud of all the adjustments I made to the bodice, which will serve me well going forward, and in general, because I've drafted the pattern myself. As always, there are things I'd like to fix, but that's not going to stop me from wearing it in the meantime. Thanks for coming along on this crazy little adventure with me, and don't forget to hit the like button down below, and hit the subscribe button for more zany sewing fun. See you next time. Bye-bye.